Good day, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world. Our guest today is joining us at 8:25 p.m., coming to us all the way from Hyderabad, India. If you've been following the news lately, you've seen some of the major flooding that's been hitting Hyderabad, and I wasn't sure if we would be able to get this person on today. He's been helping his community fight the calamity that's been going on. So thank you to all of you for your support to Hyderabad, and thank you to our speaker today. When I made a list of people I wanted to do our keynotes this week, the top of my list to do our Essbase keynote was the person who's been architecting the future of Essbase and steering the ship for the last couple of years. I'm really excited that he gets to join us for 45 minutes this morning to talk about that future. I want you to put your virtual Zoom hands together. Big round of applause for the Principal Product Manager for Essbase from Oracle, Ashish Jain. Ashish, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Edward. Yeah, it's a slightly it's a tough time here, and yeah, I'm glad that I could make it for this conference. Thank you for hosting me here, and let me share my screen. All right, so I hope everyone can see my screen here, and I want to start off with our mission statement. Right, our mission statement is to help people see data in new ways, discover insights, and unlock endless possibilities. I have been working with data for the last, I would say, 17 years, and that is one thing that fascinates me a lot. And being the database company that Oracle is, we have a lot of potential to be able to discover those insights. And one of the things that I'm currently doing is, of course, make Essbase a product that allows the users to discover these insights, but more importantly, the broader Oracle mission of with the Oracle database, the autonomous database, to see how we can help people discover those insights and unlock endless possibilities. So with that, here is a quick overview. I'm going to talk about the overview of Essbase in general and some of the roadmap items. Quick check, the safe harbor statement. This is a roadmap discussion, and I will be talking about features, dates, and timelines about certain product features and capabilities. So please do not take this session to make any sort of purchasing decisions, but this is just a guidance and a roadmap discussion. All right, so let's dive in. We'll quickly start with an overview of Essbase. I'm pretty sure most of you have seen this particular slide, but I want to again show this slide to highlight the focus and commitment for Essbase as a product within Oracle, and in general and specifically how Essbase has evolved over a period of years. Just to give some background, Essbase was initially part of our SaaS offerings. We were part of the EPM group internally as a product, and we became an integral part of all our cloud solutions that we deliver, along with the on-prem solutions that we delivered in terms of the Fusion SaaS applications, EPM, both on-prem and cloud. Essbase powers a lot of those engines and solutions. So we have evolved from being or powering those enterprise grade applications and planning solutions for our customers, to then graduating, we became part of the analytics group, because we thought analytics, again, Essbase allows you to derive those insights. So we had our on-prem releases, we had Exalytics solution for customers to build those large applications, do the reporting on top of it. And of course, with OAC Essbase, we came out on the cloud, and now we have our offerings on the marketplace, again on the cloud. And very soon, our commitment for on-prem, I'm going to talk a little bit later about how we want to progress on the on-prem world as well. So we really see how strategic or how important Essbase is, both internally and externally, both as an embedded or as a key part of some of our key solutions, both on the cloud on-prem, but also as a standalone offering for our customers. So moving on, I'll first briefly talk about our on-prem offerings. So today we started off with OAC Essbase, and today we are on the marketplace. We have our solutions. We have a lot of our customers that have moved either from OAC Essbase into the marketplace or even from on-prem to the marketplace. Since I think it has been almost a year. We started off first with the BYOL listing, which allowed our on-prem customers to move their applications to the cloud. And then earlier this year, we had our UCM listing, which allowed the customers to leverage the universal cloud credits to be able to use those on our cloud. What we have seen is we have seen great feedback from customers that have moved either from OAC Essbase or from on-prem, moving on to what is the 19C version, the latest version of the product on the cloud today. And we have had great feedback in terms of great performance, and in general, and then specifically about OCI. I'm going to talk a little bit about our recent release on the marketplace and how we are working to integrate better with OCI. So Essbase on marketplace is really a stack-based deployment, which allows, which actually leverages the capabilities of our cloud and allows our customers to deploy Essbase very easily on our cloud. So some of the benefits that our customers have seen is, first of all, from a deployment perspective, even though we were migrating from what we call a managed offering on the cloud with OAC Essbase, moving on to a more sort of a customer managed offering on the cloud, which means that the customer have to manage their instances. But what we have seen is with our marketplace listing and with OCI console, customers can very easily deploy Essbase on using the Terraform or using the marketplace listing that we have. And what we do is when we do this install, we do with the best configurations possible, as well as best practices for the different shapes, for example, that you may be deploying. We leverage the OCI capabilities, and any customers that is already invested in OCI, let's say, for example, with OAC or with autonomous database, they can start leveraging their investments on OCI and quickly build Essbase cubes on top of those data sets from a data perspective or from a visualization perspective, integrate with OAC. And of course, we made it very easy for our customers to migrate to marketplace with our migration utilities. What we have seen in the past is with OAC Essbase, a lot of our customers, they are long-term Essbase user. A lot of our partners gave feedback that things like being able to manage the environment on their own, ability to change configuration settings, or even the ability to connect back to on-prem data sources with VPN. Those are some of the capabilities that OAC did not have, but with the marketplace offering, we sort of covered those gaps. So in general, even though it is customer managed, along with the OCI console, we make it very easy for our customers to both deploy and manage their deployments. So this is one slide that I want to talk about. Is historically we have seen Essbase has been sort of embraced within the financial departments of large organizations, or specifically for reporting purposes with large ASO cubes, for example. But with our cloud offering and with the roadmap that we are discussing, we want to extend Essbase beyond primarily those two use cases, right? Beyond just statutory reporting or doing month-end consolidations or allocations and custom planning, or even doing custom reporting. But we want to bring the capabilities of Essbase to those sort of novice Essbase users that do not want to get into the intricacies of how do you define an application, how do you build an application, but want to look at the data. So these are some of the personas that I think should benefit from the newer offerings that we have with the newer platform that we have for Essbase in general. So personas like data analysts, right? Whenever they get data in Excel, they could quickly convert that, sort of flat data in an Excel into an Essbase cube centrally, uh, build, quickly slice and dice the data, pivot the data. And if they live and breathe in the world of Excel, they can still continue to do that and leverage the capabilities of Essbase. So those are some of the use cases from a departmental or line of business use cases. We want to enable the capability for users to share and collaborate. Let's say, for example, the scenarios that they may run, any what if analysis that they may run, and easily be able to share their findings or their analysis with other users within their group. And of course, with our great integration capabilities, not just with Oracle products, but other products such as Tableau or Power BI, we want to make sure that we are a analysis tool of choice from a data perspective. And of course, those operational users, we want them to be able to import their data, build the cubes, analyze, slice and dice through the data, and more importantly, get actionable insights from their data. So with newer offerings, with newer tools and utilities, we want to make sure that we extend the use cases of Essbase beyond what we have historically seen, right? So that's really our goal moving forward with the product. So here is a quick example of how we could leverage different Oracle technologies to be able to, on the cloud specifically, to be able to leverage the key capabilities of Essbase, which is allowing the users to analyze their data, do write backs to the data, and of course do scenario management, what if analysis, and the power of calc and dynamic calculations that come into the picture. So one of the use cases that I could look at is the ability for Essbase to run on top of the autonomous database. So the autonomous database is a platform that allows the users to do a lot of things with their data. They can run machine learning models, they can do analysis. So once they do that, they could load that data into an Essbase, perform some scenario management, run some what if analysis, run some scenarios, and of course, while doing so, they can pull the data either directly from an autonomous database or pull the data in from any other data sources that they may have. It could be on Oracle SaaS, flat files, or on-prem data sources, enterprise data sources. We also want our users to make it easy in terms of pulling the data into Essbase. So we are working on better integration capabilities with ODI. And from a reporting and analysis perspective, integrate well with Oracle Analytics. Of course, a lot of our users love and use SmartView. So they should be able to continue to use that, or even build their custom analytic applications or use third-party tools to be able to connect to Essbase and do the reporting. So with the convergence of all of these different things coming together, it's a compelling reason for customers to look at the Oracle Cloud and Essbase on the cloud. So let me take some time out and talk quickly about the new listing for the marketplace that came out about in mid-September, right? So some of the new features that were released around mid-September was the new listing 193034, which is the fourth listing on marketplace. It has the latest patches both from an OS, Fusion middleware, and Essbase perspective. So so a lot of so the latest listing, when you use that, you get all the latest patches and you're up to date from a security standpoint. One of the things that we've seen with our marketplace customers is the ability. They were looking for an ability to deploy an all private Essbase deployment, right? Earlier with the previous stack listings, we sort of made Bastion host mandatory, or having a public IP address for the Essbase compute, even if they didn't use Bastion hosts. That was becoming a limiting factor, specifically for those customers that had an IPsec VPN or a fast connect available directly to their on-prem data sources. So with this new listing, we've made an all private Essbase deployment, even a private load balancer as an option for our customers to deploy the stack on the cloud. So we think that will help a lot of our customers that are looking for more secure and more private IP-based deployments. Two other important things that we've done in this release is we are integration with Oracle Notification Service and OCI monitoring service. So we'll do a quick demo of that in a bit. But again, as I mentioned, we are working towards taking a lot of the new OCI enhancements or OCI capabilities that are coming up and deliver those to our customers. So these are two other great value add features that we have added in this particular listing. Of course, from a support standpoint, Autonomous Database is upgrading to the latest version of the database, which is 19C. With our new listing, we support that version, and we have added the capability for our users to truly scale up or scale down their Essbase deployments so that they can leverage the economies of the cloud, right? They can scale up their instances if they want more compute, more power, or otherwise scale down. So it works well. So moving on, let me talk briefly about the notification service. What we have seen is whenever a customer does any marketplace deployments on our cloud, they would have to look at the screen, look at the logs. But what we've done is we've leveraged the new Oracle notification service that is available. We integrate with that, and now users can get notified about general lifecycle events during deployment in terms of how the configuration steps, did they went through fine, did it fail, what if there was any issue, then they can get notified, or even when they are performing during normal lifecycle management of their applications, things like backup and restore. So has the backup started, completed, those sorts of things. So that's a new capability. Users can get notified with it either via email, Slack, or integration with Oracle Functions. That's another Oracle OCI service that they could leverage. This of course needs certain permissions in terms of policies. So just a quick note on that. But with this, now users can get notified about any events that happen during deployment or during any lifecycle management. The other thing that we added is our integration with Oracle monitoring service. So things like, okay, I'm using a block volume or a block storage to store my Essbase applications. Block storage does not inherently notify users if the storage is, let's say, coming towards, it's 90% full or 95% full. So what we did is we've integrated the Essbase deployment with this monitoring service. So now we send these metrics every minute to the notification service, and they could get like a very near real-time update of, let's say if they are running a calc script that takes a lot of resources, so they can monitor those runs within a nice terminal UI. Customers can create their own alarms now, right? So if, for example, is my compute or CPU is consuming more than 90%, or is my storage reaching critical levels? So those are the kind of things that you can configure and get notified in case of any adverse events. Again, this will require additional policy settings. That's a quick update. What I have is a quick video for these two features. I'm gonna quickly skim through those, specifically the notifications and the monitoring service. So from a notification standpoint, you can easily go over to the console, create a new topic, and register yourself either through Slack or through email to get notified in case of any lifecycle notifications that you want to get. So once you do that, and then you deploy a stack, this is a quick example of how a failure in terms of configuring your environment would happen, or when you would get notified of when the deployment has started and if it has completed successfully or not. So users don't have to necessarily look at the Oracle Resource Manager screen to get notified about what's the status. They can quickly check their mobiles through Slack or through email. The other thing is the ability for capturing those metrics. So here's a quick example. Users would again go over to the notification, the metrics, and they would, under the metric namespace, now once they choose the option to use this service, they'll be able to see an Oracle Essbase namespace, and then they can define what kind of metric they want to track, right? CPU utilization. This is a slightly older screen, so the top two and the last four are what are available, and then they can choose by application. So for example, here is the memory or the CPU usage for a specific Essbase application called tags. And now, once they do that, they can also create alarms, right? So you can set an alarm and say, okay, if my CPU utilization is beyond 90%, please notify me, right? So that's how you would get notified in case of any alarm is triggered, right? So those are the new capabilities that we have added within the marketplace. So again, here is a quick screenshot of the configuration notifications. The first one is the start, and the second one is completion of the service. And here's a quick example of the monitoring, where you would set alarms, look at different monitoring, and then get notified in case of those adverse events that occur. Okay, so that's the cloud. Moving on, I want to talk about the new on-prem release. That's really what a lot of our customers are looking forward for. This new release that we are going to have on-prem is going to come after a very long time, right? We released 11G a long time ago, and of course we are due this new release to our customers, and this is coming out very soon. So I'm pretty sure Mike from our Essbase product development team did a session on Monday where he would have shown some of the things that I'm going to talk about. Of course, the first thing, right? This on-prem release, the Essbase 21C, we are working very hard. Our engineering and QA teams are working hard to make sure that we make the timeline that we are trying to commit here, right? Our plan is to release Essbase before the end of calendar year. This is what you've been hearing. I think we are still sticking to that. Hopefully we'll make this time, and we are pretty sure we will make this time. So from a release standpoint, we will initially support Linux, and it'll be Linux 7. We are also planning to support Linux 8. It could be Red Hat or Oracle Linux. We'll support the latest Java, latest security, so TLS 1.2. But in addition, to make it easy for our on-prem customers to uptake the 21C release, we see that EAS is one of the things that our on-prem customers are looking for. Our Jet UI, the new web-based UI that we offer, that customers might have seen in 19C or in OAC on the cloud, is good, but there are a few gaps that we want to fill. So we wanted to make sure that it's easy for our customers to adapt to the 21C. So we made sort of an EAS light version that will work with 21C. So customers can actually leverage EAS client to be able to manage their outlines when they deploy Essbase. Other important thing what we have noticed is our customers want the ability for Hyperion Shared Services security integration. So here's a quick snapshot of how that would get deployed. I'm sure Mike would have gone through that in detail, but yeah, we will support EPM Shared Services security. So those are some of the new things that will come with the on-prem release. I want to spend another maybe 2 slides on the details of where Essbase is headed. What is the roadmap for Essbase, given the history that it has had, right? We were part of, from a product delivery standpoint, with 11G, we still sort of bundled with the EPM installer. So we've been very closely sort of associated with the EPM deployments. And of course, with our BI customers, we had the BI foundation where, again, Essbase was bundled with it. So the way it would work is the customer would lay out the Essbase that was delivered with the product and then configure the the EPM products on top of it. Going forward, we will have, and starting with Essbase 21C, Essbase will have a standalone installer, a standalone configuration tool, a standalone deployment. And really the idea is all these EPM and BI products will in the future sort of certify Essbase the way they do, say, for example, the Oracle database or the Java versions or the WebLogic versions. So Essbase will really now sort of becomes a third-party product that these products integrate with. So that's really the roadmap specifically for our on-prem customers. Is as we move forward, Essbase becomes its own product, and these other products certify Essbase and how they integrate or how they interop with Essbase. From a cloud perspective, the history was we were part of the Oracle Analytics Cloud. Even though we were part of Oracle Analytics Cloud, we were still sort of a separate deployment. It was a separate drop-down choice that users would make, and Essbase would get deployed. The future for Essbase on the cloud is we will deliver Essbase via Marketplace, which is available today. 19C is available today. Once 21C comes out, of course, 21C will also be available. And more specifically, I think a lot of our customers have these questions about how does Essbase 11.1.2.4 and EPM 11.2 work. So I've tried to simplify this a little bit and give some inputs as to what the situation right now is and how we see the future going. So first of all, with our 21C release, which will be Essbase 21.1, who can move to 21.1? I think any customer that is using Essbase standalone, even though they were using the EPM installer, but they were really leveraging Essbase to source data from their data warehouses or any other third-party sources like FRAC files, and building their custom planning cubes, custom analytic applications, or custom reporting applications using ASO. That is a right thing, right? Once 21C comes out, they would have Essbase Plus licenses, and they would be able to easily move their applications from 11G to 21C. Any customer that has full use Essbase licenses, again, by virtue of this, they would also have Essbase Plus licenses, or any customer that is a BI Foundation Edition customer, if they have BI Foundation licenses, they automatically qualify to be able to use the standalone Essbase. So from a licensing perspective, there is no cost for our customers to move to 21C as long as they have Essbase Plus licenses. Especially with our 21C on the cloud coming soon, we will support these kind of hybrid deployments where customers could have part of their applications on-prem, part of their applications on the cloud, where some customers are still formulating their cloud strategy, so they can plan to move their cubes over a period of time if they have large number of cubes. But they would have this coexistence of cubes, both on-prem and on the cloud. From an EPM standpoint, EPM 11.2 came out some time back. It still has Essbase 11.1.2.4 on it. The goal, again, as I mentioned in the previous slide, is for our customers to be able to EPM will uptake 21C, in the sense they will certify these versions of 21C. But while we are in this transition period, we are working towards helping our customers that want to use the standalone Essbase to be able to leverage Essbase. So that's a roadmap item. Please look out for announcements on those. But EPM 11.2, from a bundled perspective, will still continue to use 11.1.2.4 internally. And any customer that is having standalone applications, today they cannot, but again, in the future, we are trying to see how we can make standalone Essbase work as well, both from a technical certification perspective as well as a licensing perspective. But bear in mind, 11.1.2.4 will follow the published LSP. So it is published on oracle.com, and we will follow the lifetime support policy for 11.124 as it is published. So this is a quick overview, specifically if customers are looking for what does it mean to have EPM 11.2 and Essbase 11.124 together, and how should they look about moving to 21C. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about uptaking 21C, right? This is the Essbase that that our customers love and use today on-prem. This is the 11G version. It has a utilities that allow the users to pull the data into an Essbase cube, pull out data using these other utilities, and of course the tools that are used to manage those Essbase applications or work through MDX, calc scripts, and so on. So you must be thinking, okay, well, I do love and use this product very well. 21C is coming out. Well, what will happen to my applications, right? So here I'm trying to give a quick snapshot of what it would really mean for our customers that have been using the product that they love and have been using for so many years. We want to make sure first of all, that the migration is simple, right? So towards that end, we are providing these migration utilities that allow the customers to easily migrate their product and their applications from on-prem to the from the 11G version to the 21C. But not just that, right? If you look at it, the hybrid engine, the kernel itself has been improved a lot. We added a new Java layer, which allows platform capabilities that extends these that brings a lot of capabilities for our end users. And just to show the difference, right? MDX 2.0, it's not really called 2.0, but really I want to highlight a lot of new features that have been added to each one of these individual components of the product that our customers have been using, right? MDX has introduced MDX insert. We have boatloads of improvements from a calc script perspective. A lot of those restrictions on hybrid applications have now been lifted. So a lot of functions can be used in those calc scripts for the hybrid application. Maxel has been enhanced. We now have a new Maxel client. Partitions, for partitions, we added these XREF functions that can communicate to different applications or different cubes. So those are a lot of enhancements that have happened. A lot of new capabilities have come in. So I'll talk a little bit about those in the next slide. But from an integration standpoint, we still support Smart View. We will have integrations with OBI, Oracle Analytics, and DV. All those report scripts and MDX exports that you have should still work. But of course, on the right, we'll have new capabilities in terms of what we call structured workbooks or templates that, again, makes it easy for the use cases that I talked about earlier, right? Bring Essbase to the hands of people that do not understand Essbase very well, but still leverage its capabilities to the fullest. So what I want to highlight here is it's the same Essbase, much improved, a lot of new capabilities and easy migrations. That's the key takeaway from this slide. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but on the left, what you see is a lot of features that have been enhanced over 11G, right? I talked about calc scripts earlier. Drill through is, we have multi-cell drill through, recursive drill through, and the ability to select non-contiguous cells for drill through. Of course, a lot of performance improvements just on drill through. From a security filter standpoint, customers don't necessarily have to define filters specifically for each filter individually, but they can now dynamically define filters. So a lot of new enhancements for existing capabilities, but new features such as Cube Designer. A lot of our 19C and OAC customers have used this, and it makes building cubes so much more easier right from within an Excel interface, to manage the cube from within an Excel interface. Scenario management is a new capability. We can have a separate session on this, a lot of new enhancements, and we will do that over a period of time as we release 21C. We want to make sure customers understand a lot of these new features that we've brought in with the cloud releases that we have had. Customers can now use the browser-based thin client to manage their applications. So you don't need, again, modern architectures, modern tools to be able to manage your cubes on the newer versions. So from a roadmap perspective, again, I have a quick video that talks about some of the new upcoming features. This is really a sort of a delta list over 19C. But again, this will showcase how our UI has evolved. So I have a quick demo on some of these features, and of course, there is improved OA cloud integration. I'm pretty sure in the session yesterday, OAC is coming out with the ability to show hierarchical columns, and Essbase sort of gains a lot with that feature, right? People are used to looking at those hierarchical values within Smart View or within the Jet UI or EAS. They will get the same sort of look and feel in Oracle DB as well. So those are some of the things. So here's a quick video on some of the new features, right? And these are driven by a lot of these enhancements are driven by our customers that have used the product. So this is an example of how global variables are consolidated in one location. And then this is the ability for our users, as they define the calc scripts, as they develop their calc scripts or MDX scripts, they have the ability to execute the scripts right from within the same interface, right? So they don't have to leave this interface, open up new tabs, go to jobs and execute. And of course, they can run this asynchronously in the background as well. Another feature is the ability to search alphabetically. Small but numerous lot of enhancements that have come up. Ability to run MDX scripts, so you can execute those scripts. Another feature that our customers had asked for is the ability to load multiple data files that leverage different rule files as a single job execution. So here is a quick example of loading multiple data files into an Essbase cube using rule files that are associated with those data files. Another capability is in the partition definitions. So as you're defining partitions, earlier users had to sort of type these rules, but now it's a nice outline UI which they can use, search for members and define their rules. For example, their area definitions that they might have, that they might do. So a lot of such enhancements are coming over. Some additional enhancements that are on the roadmap is improvement to the hybrid engine itself. So it's not just the platform or the UI capabilities, but we are working very closely, very hard to make the core kernel also performant, right? Leverage the newer architectures from a hardware perspective, be able to do calculations much faster, dynamically, and so on, especially with the hybrid engine. So a lot of enhancements that are coming in the kernel itself. From a cube designer perspective, reset dimensions, and specifically for those customers that are moving from 11G to 21C and leverage the hybrid engine, we are working towards providing these optimization utilities. I did have a conversation with Mike. I think he was showing that. He was not able to show that fully, but of course, that's another thing which a lot of our 11G customers will look for as they migrate to the newer version. So we make it easy for you to be able to embrace the new hybrid engine and its capabilities. I have a quick demo on shadow cubes. This is allowing the users the ability to update the cube data or metadata without having an impact on the end users as they are querying the data. So I have a quick demo on that after this. And from a marketplace perspective, of course, marketplace gets all of these by default, right? It's the product capabilities, but from an administration perspective or from an ability for our customers to leverage the cloud economies, one of the things that OCI has introduced recently is the ability to be able to dynamically scale their compute shapes, for example. So here is a quick snapshot of what OCI allows today, and our goal is to uptake that capability where the CPUs and memory sort of can be independently tuned or adjusted for our customers' need, right? So today, I think an 8 OCPU has 120 gigs of memory by default, but now keeping their compute or number of processors at 8, but scaling their memory is something that will be possible in the future. So again, more flexibility to be able to leverage the OCI, and of course, scale up and scale down your resources as per your needs. Today we use keys. In the future, using keys, virtual keys is a little bit tricky today. OCI has introduced a new capability called secret service, which makes it easy to handle these password fields that we enter on the marketplace UI. So we will uptake some of those capabilities. So a lot of enhancements as well from an OCI perspective that are coming too. So here I have a quick demo on shadow cubes. Basically, it's a 3-step process. It allows the users to update their cubes without having an impact on their end user. So it's a 3-step process where you first create a shadow application of your existing application, make changes to the shadow application, and then promote the shadow application to become the main application. So it's a quick demo on that. Today we have REST API. Oh, sorry, hold on. One moment. Sorry about that, one moment.
These are the perks of working from home these days, I guess. We'll bring back Ashish in just a second.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so with all these floods around, some repair work happening, but we should be fine now. Anyway, so I don't know if I paused the video. Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, so the users can submit their data. So we see that the users are able to edit the cube, and now we go through the process of creating a shadow application, right? So this capability today is available via REST APIs. So I'm quickly showing a demo on how to use this using Python and REST API to be able to perform the shadow cube feature. So you would run the shadow copy process. What this would do is it would create a shadow application, which is a copy of the original. So now this application is available. So you can make changes. So here I'm showing a quick change again through REST APIs, where Connecticut now becomes a child of the central region. Just an example that I cooked up, right? So it moves from east to central. The shadow application has changed, but the users are still looking at, so the application is not down. They can still work with the application in the read-only mode, right? So they cannot make any changes because the cube is now in the read-only mode. So once you make your changes in the background to your data, metadata on your shadow application, and once you're done with that, you can now promote the shadow application, those changes. And this happens sort of in a snap, in the sense we do a quick file system copy, so that it's a very minimal difference for our end users. So now we sort of lose the shadow application because now it has been promoted as the main application. So now users can actually, if we do a refresh, Connecticut now becomes, it moves from east and becomes a child of central, and of course it's available for write backs. So this is a quick demo on the shadow application that I wanted to show today. I probably don't have enough time for question and answers, but probably have a couple of minutes. So with that, I come towards the end of my session. Do let me know if there are any questions.
Yes, Ashish, it looks like we have quite a few questions in the Q&A here. You can go over your time. There's no problem with that. So we want to get these questions answered. I can read them to you, or you could read them.
Yeah, I see them here. Can you compare the UCC model to BYOL? Yeah, so this is from and how UCC is expected to function with development environments where there will be few users, if I move into a UCC model, what happens to my existing licenses? Yeah, so the compare and contrast between UCC and BYOL is really how you pay for the Essbase licenses, right? If you are an on-prem customer, you probably already have existing licenses. So if you have those existing licenses, and if you are a named user-based license, you can quickly spin up an instance. You will not be charged for the Essbase component, but all other OCI components that are deployed, you will have to pay for those, right? And from the BYOL is that model. Whereas if you use the UCM, you still pay for the underlying OCI resources, but you also pay for the Essbase. So Essbase has a SKU, it has its own cost. Now, if you have some on-prem licenses, there is a conversion that applies specifically if you are processor license. Again, those details are there on our listings. So you could coexist, right? You could have some users leverage the BYOL component and some users leverage the UCC. It's really how you want to sort of mix and match those, right? So that's that answer. The next question is, are notification services and monitoring services additional cost or included in the Essbase subscription? No, they are not included in the Essbase subscription, right? These are additional cost. However, the notification service and the monitoring service, they have certain sort of free minimums that are available. So, and what we have seen is the kind of metrics that we publish, the customers should be sort of within the free limits, but yeah, these are not free. These are not included in the subscription. You would be, if you use these services and if you exceed the free limits, you will see a line item in your bill as additional usage. Will ODI add KMs for Essbase 11.2x for planning for 1921C? Yeah, so right now on the roadmap is we are working towards providing ODI knowledge modules for the newer releases of Essbase. So we are working on 19C, of course we'll work on 21C. So that is something that is on the roadmap. For 11.2x, again, 11.2x still uses Essbase 11.124. So your existing ODI KMs should work. Is there an ability to take full snapshot backup from the cloud? Yes, that is possible. We do have a white paper that that Karen from our team has written, and you should be able to leverage. We have documented the steps on how you can take backup of your entire stack deployment or all the applications. What is the future direction of being able to use EPM 11.2 to create standalone Essbase cubes? Do customers have to move to? I think I answered that question in one of the slides where I showed the pivot in terms of how customers would move from their existing 11.124 to 11.2 and 19C. So the key here is the standalone customers that actually use key Essbase, build custom applications. They should be able to move to 21C. We are working together with the EPM team to see how we can make 11.2 to have both commercial and technical certifications to see how 11.2 customers can leverage Essbase 11.124. But bear in mind, bundled Essbase EPM 11.2 will still have Essbase 11.124. Where can we get the recordings? That's okay. It would be nice to have a process built in to make original app backed up while we promote the shadow cube. Yeah, so please do. This is a good feedback. I take this feedback so that yeah, we can make improvements to this once this rolls out. Okay. Is the new version available to play around? Not yet, but we are very close. Again, we are very close to GA. We want to make sure that we get a good product out. So yeah, once it is GA, you can play around with it. Can you elaborate again on 11.124 Essbase in 11.2 EPM? Is it not possible to create new Essbase standalone application? Today, commercially, no, we are not. Essbase Plus licensing is not included in 11.2, and even from a technical perspective, there are certifications in terms of the platform and such. So the answer to that is sort of both. So yeah, watch out for announcement from Oracle for support for 11.124 on EPM 11.2. How long? The question is, what is the timeline for on-premise on Windows? Yeah, so our first release is going to be Linux for 21C on-prem. Windows will follow soon after that. So typically, we from one platform to another, we have like 3 to 6 months that we give ourselves for a subsequent release. However, just for our Windows-based customers, we are working on releasing Essbase on Docker. So we are in the process of going through the licensing and going through legal to make these Essbase Docker available for our customers. So once that is available, our customers should be able to run Essbase on a Windows platform technically. In fact, Mike from our team is actually running Essbase on a Windows Docker. But again, that's more internal for testing. But yeah, so Windows customers, platform certifications will come, and for early users, once the Docker images come out, you should be able to leverage those. What about reporting tool? Is standalone on-premise can connect with NR Cloud? Yeah, so from a reporting standpoint, again, we will work with our EPM counterparts. I think management reporting is supported, I think, with 19C. So yeah, I think it should work. Look out for certifications for that as well. If we are on 19C in OCI currently and we want to update 21C on OCI, will this, okay. Yeah, so 19 to 21 is an out of place migration because the underlying Fusion middleware changes. So, but however, look, the cloud is much easier, right? You can stand up a parallel instance, do your migrations and throw away the old instance, meaning it will be an out of place migration, but it should be simpler. Can shared services be used on OCI Essbase? Not today. Yeah, you cannot. Are Essbase Plus licenses able to use shared services? That's a question, that's a licensing question that I'll have to probably check and get back. So yeah, I think if you are an EPM customer, you should have shared services licenses. And if you are having a full use Essbase license, then you should be able to use it. Okay, I missed one. If we are on 19C in OCI currently, and we want to update 20, yeah. So 19 to 21, I answered this. It's an out of place migration. So it will be an out of place migration. All right. So looks like we addressed the questions.
I want to let you all know that Ashish just made it through 16 questions in, according to my calculations, 6 minutes, which was amazingly impressive. Ashish, wanted to thank you for a most awesome keynote. Great kicking off Wednesday. For all of you who are wondering what the future looks like for Essbase, the future is very, very bright. Ashish is now going to go hop on a panel that starts in 7 minutes, where we're going to talk about that future of Essbase along with some of the other visionaries over at Oracle. So we encourage you, if you don't know which track to go hop on now, go hop over to the Essbase track, and we'll get to hear more from Ashish, and we'll let him take a quick 5-minute break. Thank you, everybody. It's going to be an awesome Wednesday.